The spotlight trembled weakly as Eli, a thin young man with tired eyes, stepped onto the vast stage, holding an old guitar with scratches, dents, and tape on its neck. His clothes hung loosely, and the audience whispered, some amused, some skeptical. "He looks lost," one murmured. Eli swallowed hard, whispering to himself, "For you, Mom. Just one more time." The judges, seated under blinding lights, exchanged glances, unimpressed by his appearance. But when Eli's fingers strummed the first note of Hotel California, something in the air shifted. The sound wasn't perfect, it was fragile, trembling with emotion, yet it carried a kind of truth that silenced the entire hall. His voice rose softly, cracking in places, but every imperfection drew people closer. It wasn't performance, it was confession. Tears glimmered in his eyes as he sang about a place of dreams, loss, and home. Backstage, an old woman in a wheelchair, his mother, clutched her chest, whispering, "That's my boy." She had pawned her last gold ring years ago to buy that same guitar. Every note tonight was her sacrifice echoing back through time. When Eli strummed the final chord, silence filled the hall before a thunderstorm of applause broke out. Judges stood. The audience roared. Eli smiled through his tears, whispering, "You heard me, didn't you, Mom?" Years before that unforgettable night, Eli's story had begun in a small, crumbling apartment above a noisy street. His father had left early, and his mother worked endless shifts at a laundry shop to feed them. Eli, too, worked wherever he could, sweeping cafes, delivering groceries, anything that kept food on their table. At night, when the city slept, he'd sit by the window with that same guitar and sing softly to the stars. He didn't dream of fame, just a moment where his mother could rest without worry. One rainy evening, while cleaning tables at a cafe, he began humming softly after closing time. An old man sitting alone at the corner listened quietly, tears welling in his eyes. As he left, he slipped an envelope under Eli's guitar case. Inside was a faded backstage pass and a note that read, "Dreams don't expire, only courage does." That note became Eli's treasure. But soon after, his mother fell ill. Eli worked double shifts, skipped meals, and sold everything he could, even his coat, to buy her medicine. Some nights she would smile faintly and say, "Sing for me, Eli. That's the only medicine that works." When the call for auditions came, he almost refused. But she looked at him with proud, fading eyes and whispered, "Go. Sing the song we used to dance to." The morning of the audition, Eli barely slept. His mother's fever had returned, and the doctor's eyes said what words couldn't. Still, she pushed his trembling hands around the guitar and said, "If I can't walk to see you, then sing loud enough for me to hear from heaven." He hugged her tightly before leaving, tears soaking her blanket. Outside, the city buzzed, indifferent to his storm. At the venue, hundreds of contestants waited, dressed sharp, smiling wide. Eli stood among them quietly, clutching his old guitar like a child holding his heart. When his turn came, he walked onto the stage, lights blinding him. A string snapped before he could start, laughter rippled through the audience. Eli closed his eyes, smiled faintly, and retuned it calmly. Then he began to sing. His voice trembled at first, then grew like a flame. The judges leaned forward. The lyrics floated through the air, about dreams, about time, about a boy who just wanted to go home. By the final chorus, people had tears streaming down their faces. One judge whispered, "That's not just a song. That's a lifetime." Eli smiled through his tears, but when he turned, his mother's chair was empty. A chill crept into his chest. The applause roared, but his heart fell silent. Backstage, the world felt far away. Reporters rushed in with microphones, producers cheered, saying his audition had gone viral. But Eli sat on the cold floor, staring at his phone as a nurse's trembling voice said, "Your mother, she's gone." The phone slipped from his hands, shattering like his heart. Outside, his name echoed through speakers, calling him back for an encore. A stagehand approached gently, holding a letter found in his mother's bag. It was wrinkled, the ink slightly smudged, as if tears had touched it. Eli unfolded it with shaking hands. "My son, if you're reading this, it means I had to leave early. Don't cry, Eli. You gave me the greatest gift, your song. Every time you sing, I'll be beside you, humming the harmony. You were never poor, my son. You were just waiting for the world to hear you." Eli pressed the letter to his heart and walked back on stage. The lights blinded him again, but this time, he wasn't afraid. He lifted the guitar and said softly into the mic, "This is for every mother who believed before the world did." The audience rose as one. People cried, not because of sadness, but because they felt love. Months passed, and Eli's performance became legend. Millions watched his audition, leaving comments about how it made them call their mothers, forgive old wounds, and dream again. Eli refused fame's glitter. Instead, he used his earnings to open a small music school for underprivileged children, naming it the Harmony House. There, he taught kids to play not for applause but for love. During a charity concert in the city square, Eli stood once more under open skies. This time, he had a new guitar, its body engraved with his mother's name. As he sang Hotel California, the crowd joined in. Their voices rose like a sea of hearts. Mid-song, a gentle breeze swept the stage, fluttering his sheet music. A light flickered above him, just like it had the night she first heard him play. Eli looked up, smiling through his tears. "We did it, Mom," he whispered. The crowd swayed, unaware of his quiet conversation with the heavens. As the final note faded, he looked into the camera and said, "Sometimes love doesn't need applause, it just needs to be heard." The screen faded to black, and the final words appeared, "Kindness echoes louder than fame."